Hare Krishna, yes. I remember many years ago when I was a student, I was living in a house and we were many students living together. And I was studying in the Royal Melbourne Institute of the Technology in Melbourne, Australia. And many of the students, we were living, renting one house and then going to the college for our studies. And then one of the students, he brought back one, back to Godhead, I think, or back to Godhead or Ishopanishad, back to Godhead. And then the next time he brought Ishopanishad, he was walking in the street and in the city, and one Hare Krishna devotee gave him some magazine, and he came back and he was reading and he showed to us. And so at that time I was not very much inclined to the religion. I was a young student and I was very much doing my education, and I had no time for the religion. So actually the whole idea of the God and everything, I was in my mind I was challenging. And anyway, he presented this magazine, and then the next time he went, after this he got the magazine, the devotee invited him to the temple, so he went to the temple, and the next time he came back with the Ishopanishad, Prabhupada's Ishopanishad. So he was actually by that time becoming very convinced of the Krishna consciousness, and he was speaking a little bit of the philosophy, although he didn't know so much. He was speaking to us, and actually I was one of the main ones arguing against him about the existence of God and this religion and so many corruptions and everything like that. So I was one of the main ones. Some of the other students, they were listening more, but I was one of the main ones against Hare Krishna and against everything like that. So, but one of my main questions were, well, if there's God is the creator, then who created the God? So I thought I had the perfect question to defeat his presentation. Anyway, after some time, I began to read those back to Godhead, and then especially I read the Ishopanishad, and actually a lot of the things that Prabhupada and the verses, I became a little bit more interested in that, and became a little bit more convinced. And he came back also with one Bhagavad Gita. So then when I started to read Bhagavad Gita, I said, actually this makes a lot of sense, this presentation, Krishna speaking, Prabhupada's purports. And what really attracted me was the pictures of Krishna, and especially Krishna speaking to Arjuna, and Krishna's teaching, of course, and then Prabhupada's explanation. Very logical, very intelligent, and actually when I read I had the question to him, if God created all, who created God? But then I read Prabhupada explain, yes, everyone has father, you have father, he has father, and we go to the Devas, we go to Lord Brahma, but who is Lord Brahma's father? That is Vishnu. And who is the origin of all? Krishna. And Krishna, he is the supreme fountainhead, the original, and there is no one before him. That is the meaning of God. So when I read like that, I said, oh, that is the meaning of God. God, there's no one before God. He is the father of all. It is from him everything emanates. So that very struck me. Before I thought that, well, who is creating the God? And the meaning of God, that he is no creator. He is the supreme origin, everything emanates from him. So I became very convinced by that powerful argument of Prabhupada, and I began to read more and more. I was becoming more curious, because my university was in the city, and the devotees were quite often, I would see them distributing the books. I used to actually, in the beginning, try to avoid them. But then I began to speak with them a little bit, and they invited me to the temple. One time I went with some friends to the temple. By this time I was already vegetarian, because I was vegetarian for the health reasons. I thought vegetarian, and also I didn't like the killing of the animals or anything like that. I thought philosophically is not good, so I was already vegetarian. And so they said, oh, we have the vegetarian feast, and there are many things there in the temple. So I went with some of my friends, and it was a very enlivening experience. I was very attracted to the kirtan. Actually, the kirtan that afternoon, it was a Sunday program, and the kirtan was very wild kirtan. And I was a little bit doing the music also, so the kirtan was very wild, and they were jumping and they were running up and down. I said, these fellows are very wild. I said, I like that because I was just young. I thought, I thought that the spiritual life means you have to just sit and then do the yoga, do the meditation, and just quiet, everything like that. So, I was attracted a little bit, but not so much to that. To me, that was a little dry. But then when I saw them doing the kirtan and running and everything like that, I became very attracted. So gradually, I started to come to the temple. I remember on practically the first or second visit after the program, one devotee came and said that, it's very good in the spiritual life to do some service. So, you hear the philosophy, you take the prasad, associate with the devotees, and then you do some service, and that, you become more and more realized and attached as far as the spiritual knowledge. So I said, what service do you want me to do? And they said, they just want you to help to wash some dishes. That's how they said, just to wash some dishes. So then, no problem, I can help wash some dishes. So then they led me outside, and it was after the Sunday program, there was many big pots. It was like the mountain of pots. Big pots like this. And I thought they were just some dishes, like in the home, some dishes. So they said, yes, if you can do some service, you can wash these pots. And I said, whoa, there's so many. Is anyone else going to help? Yeah, we will send someone. And so I found they didn't send anyone. By myself I was doing, and I was like for 4 hours I was there washing the pots, and I had all the black and everything like that. I was so tired. But in the end I felt very blissful, very satisfied. But and from that I think that I became more and more attached. So gradually I became more interested, but I wasn't ready to join. And I had another friend also that was also becoming more and more interested, and we decided to go away traveling on holiday sometime. And then on the way he said, look, I think I'm going to become full-time devotee. And I said to him, I don't think I'm ready for a full-time devotee, but I like a devotee, I like the philosophy now, but not full-time. He said, well, can you drive me to the Brisbane temple? There was a brand new temple. So I drove him there, and we stayed there for some time. I stayed with him, but I wasn't ready. But then I left him there, and then I came back. But then about a few months later, they said Prabhupada is coming, one of his first visits, and he is speaking in one program. So then I went to that program, and I was once I saw Prabhupada and his presentation, everything like that, I became very, very attracted to Prabhupada and attracted to the devotees and joining in the kirtan. And helping with the service. So gradually, after some time, I decided that I think I want to become full-time devotee and move in the temple. So I moved into the temple and was a brahmachari. After a few days even, they said that you have to go for the book distribution. I didn't know anything about the book distribution. Just go in the street. I never did any street like that, stopping the people. I didn't know how to stop the people even. So in this way, I became full-time devotee and doing the book distribution. And then gradually leading the party of the book distribution, going on the Harinam every day. And then I was, after some time, brought in the management, and I was the vice president and president of many temples. So that's more or less the story of how I came to the Krishna consciousness, by the devotees' mercy and by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, and ultimately by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.